So the biggest challenge is to create an athletic apparel product and a lifestyle product at the same time. My name is Daniel and I work as a design and concept manager for Craft Sportswear. What that essentially means is that I am the main contact towards our clubs and federation, and I try to get inspired and get all the info and material and history from our collaborators in order to translate it into design. Each and every process is a bit different depending on whatever there is the club wants to talk about. What's the identity? What are the main things that you want to communicate when creating a special piece like this, which, let's face it, is not only a jersey. It is something that sits maybe in your cellar for decades for grandkids to find. It's more loaded than a regular garment. Since I have not been in the process of designing the jerseys together with Darmstadt in the past, I obviously needed to get down here on the ground and hands up. I would never try and pretend that I was born here or that I am on the stands for each and every game. I keep tab, but I'm not the hardcore Darmstadt fan, but this piece right here needs to resonate with the hardcore Darmstadt fan. So in order to do that and to make it justice, I visited the club and I get to walk the walks with the club and see where the fans would move around on match day, both in the stadium and in the city. Also had a lot of interesting discussions with both fans and people within the organization. We started at this spot where Darmstadt a long time ago was actually founded with the two clubs of FK Olympia and SC Darmstadt. And where there is now a church in the city, there used to be a field. And these two clubs came together and actually formed what we today refer to as SV Darmstadt. So super nice story to tell, and something that we really try to push on in creating these designs, drawing inspiration from the environment and the architecture and the style that you can find there. Other places would be places that everybody who lives in this region and area, they will be very familiar with the Five-Finger Tower, obviously being one spot. Also a nice contrast in terms of all these round shapes, and you can sort of combine them with the shapes from the area where you find the church, with the Art Nouveau and the Gothic sort of mixing, which was a really nice ingredient. From there we moved on to the different plazas that you have in the city, where you also have fans gathering. So we took all of those ingredients and the places and the stories from the people, and we boiled it down to what we believe is a fantastic design for next season, creating this very tailor-made jersey for Darmstadt. So it's time to get nerdy for everybody interested, which is quite a few people actually I've learned doing this job, and go into the details, because there's quite a lot of details within the jersey. We have our rib details, which will show off in the collar and in the cuffs. Also here what you will see is that we actually work quite hard with the club to get this right with the colors and the proportions to imitate the flags that you see on the stands representing the club. In the back you'll find an area, a podium, where we can tell the story about Darmstadt. And we chose to utilize this church window from the very spot where the club was born, and within it, with this typeface that is sort of inspired by the architecture surrounding the city, put your initials. Same thing goes for the Darmstadt word mark on the back, which also uses this updated typeface. We know that there's a lot of people who has been urging for embroidered crest, which was something that you saw a lot back in the day, and it's a real nice touchy feel. And we've been really happy with the fact that we've been able to have a couple of thousand stitches here representing the lily on the chest. One of the bigger challenges when trying to create designs for game jerseys is how do we tell the story and incorporate a pattern without becoming too untraditional. We were happy to be able to explore a printing technique that is called embossing, where you would actually push down the fabric of the textile in order to create a pattern within the fabric rather than having it printed. And the result is actually a kind of loud design, but it sits very smoothly on top of the jersey, and you will see it shimmering in the light. And when looking closely, you'll find not only the lily, which is the core of the club identity, but also these old crests and badges from the two founding clubs that turned into Darmstadt. For people who looks even closer at this, you'll find the shapes and forms of the five-finger tower, and also from the church, the birthplace, which we've mentioned. So putting all of these puzzles or pieces of puzzles together, there's loads of things that you sometimes are not in control of, which are sponsors, etc. In this very case, we're super proud to have been in close contact with Hikes, your main sponsor, and actually being able to apply a sponsor that will fit together really, really nicely with the design, having it in white on the home jersey. So the first thing that you'll probably notice with the away jersey is that we, with the club, decided to utilize the full version of the crest. So instead of just the lily, we have the full round circular badge there. Made from like 15,000 stitches, I think the last count was, so we're really happy with how it came out in detail. You'll also see that there's a different neckline where we use a traditional V neckline with an overlap, still with the same ideas of the design as you will find in the home jersey, keeping it all together. In the back, you will still find the window neck icon telling the story about Darmstadt, but we also allowed ourselves to have the embossing also on the arms on the away jersey, once again to give it a little bit different life compared to the home jersey. Our partners in Hikes with the sponsor place been very accepting and collaborative in the process of making actually an exception of the colors of their logo, putting Hikes in blue in order to create a united blue and white silhouette for the jersey. One of the strangest things with working with football kits is that it's not actually only a kit. You will not only be able to wear it on the pitch and feel good about it, you will also wear it in the stands and out in the city.